Hello, my name is Dionne D. Hunter, and I am the event coordinator for a Night of Artistic Renewal, Representation Equals Power. And today I have the privilege of being with two of our esteemed performers. Uh, First, we're going to start by introducing a young man. He has contributed to several magazines, one of which is called Suave. It's a premier lifestyle magazine. He's conducted poetry workshops throughout the Raleigh Durham area. Uh, and he has been featured in several publications. But most notably, at least in my mind, he is the former department head of poetry at the Raleigh Film and Arts Festival. Let's give it up for DS Will.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Dion, for this privilege and honor to be on this platform and to be a part of this very esteemed collection of artists with this night of artistic renewal. And I'm looking forward to it and everything that it has to bring and the immediate and long lasting impact that it will have on our artistic communities.
Thank you so much, and we're so happy to have you. Now, we also have the beautiful, such a beautiful and talented young lady. She's earned her BA in English in a concentration of creative writing from North Carolina A&T State University. She's presently enrolled in the master's program for English and African American literature. She's published two books. The first one is called Maple Sunrise, and the second is Ochre. And gosh, pronounce that for me.
In Oka Road.
Thank you, thank you. But most notably, this beautiful young lady is the Aggie Poet Laureate for the 23-24 academic year at North Carolina A&T University. Let's give it up for Essence Connor Barringer.
Thank you so much. I'm more than overjoyed and excited and thrilled to be a part of this night. And like DS said, I believe that it will have a long lasting impact on not only myself, but all of the performers and artists that will be there. I'm very excited to see uh, and be a part of the showcase. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for, you know, being a part of the show. Now, what interested me, if I can just jump right into the interview about you, Essence, is that I read that you started your interest in poetry or writing when you were about 6 years old. Is that correct?
Yes.
So tell me, how did that happen?
So I was really interested in a lot of the things my older sister would write. She's always been on the psychology path. So sometimes when she would go to school, I'd read her papers. I wouldn't really know what they meant, but I was always just interested in learning more. Words. I was always big on reading and learning. And even with my mother, when I would go with her, 'cause she's a truck driver, and I would write down silly, but I would write down all of the signs that I would see of through the different states and that sort of thing. And they always bought me books, so I was always reading, and I just have always loved to read and write because of it.
Nice, nice. Does that strike a chord with you, DS? Did you also start writing at a young age, or did it come to you later in life?
Very similar path to Essence as it relates to influence of older individuals. So I was introduced to poetic luminaries at a very young age, but I also had a very wild imagination. So I was a comic book collector growing up. So I would picture myself wearing a cape and tying the sheet around my neck and creating these stories based upon my visions that I had. So just to kind of reiterate what Essence says, the community in your circle plays such an important part in pouring into your creative devices when you're young, that continues on to when you get older to help you be able to produce these memorable pieces of art.
Yes, yes, most definitely. So, Essence, when did you know, or did you know from that young age that you wanted to attend college and, make it a career, or, how did you travel that path?
Um, Funny enough, I knew that I wanted to write in some capacity probably around the age of like 13, 14. It wasn't until my senior year of high school that I decided I wanted to go to college because I was like, I've been in school basically my whole life. I'm tired. And then I had my English teacher. She actually went to A&T as well, and I didn't know it until later on. But she embedded our curriculum with a lot of African American literature. And she kind of brought my love back for English and literature. So then I was like, you know what? I do want to go to college. I want to learn more. I want to learn as much as I can. And that's kind of what happened for me.
That's so. Did she? It was just her bringing it to your attention, or did she push you in that direction?
I will say, bringing it to my attention, I think that she kind of made literature fun and inclusive. I think I kind of was lacking that with learning. And not to say that I don't enjoy Shakespearean literature or things of that nature, but I didn't really see myself in those works. And so it was
Mhm.
kind of hard for me to connect with it.
Yes, yes, yes. Diaz, I see you shaking your head over there. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, and I promise this interview will not be just me piggybacking off the gems that Essence is dropping, but you hit the nail on the head, and it goes along with what we're going to be doing at the end of April is representation. And though I enjoyed writing these fanciful stories, poetry wasn't an art form that I gravitated towards because even though I was introduced to these luminaries, I didn't see myself in those narratives. Their
Mhm.
situations was something I didn't necessarily connect with. So when I did attempt poetry, it was emulating someone else's vision. And therefore, there wasn't that authenticity that was being presented, right? It
Mhm.
was copy and paste. And it wasn't until I was introduced to spoken word, probably about my junior year in high school, when it clicked. I said, that's it. That's what I go through. I go through walking in the inner city and taking public transportation and dealing with the plights of an urban environment. And when you make that connection, that's when it starts to flow. That's when the accurate portrayal of who you are and what you've been through can be presented through a lens that other individuals can associate themselves with.
Yes, yes. And you hit the nail on the head. That is one of the most important aspects of a night of artistic renewal is putting that positive representation of, for us up on the stage for youth and adults to see. A lot of times on the news, all they show is shooting, killing, stealing, anything negative. And we have to present to, our community that we are greater and more. So, I'm feeling both of you. Now, Diaz, I know that you began either an organization or a project where you recorded youth doing their poetry. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So during my tenure with the Raleigh Film and Art Festival, I began an initiative called Voices to Real. Basically, that play on words of real, authentic voices and then being able to capture them on film. Film is another passion of mine. It's been ever since I was young, and it's a keepsake, it's a souvenir, it's something that we can carry with us. So I figured, why don't we highlight the geniuses that we have in our communities? I listen to some of the work of our youth and can't imagine me being able to produce that at that age because they've lived life, right? And to positive side of that, they're able to articulate that. But sometimes it's so heavy, right? the experiences that they've had to go through. So to be able to create a platform and them have an outlet, but it's also critical about boosting their self-esteem.
Mm.
So imagine you walk into a theater or an auditorium and you get to see yourself plastered on a screen, delivering your original work around the individuals that care about you, and you receiving recognition and adulation from that. And that was the core basis of being able to create that initiative, is giving our youth the platform, is giving them the stage, is giving them their spotlight that unfortunately sometimes is not shined upon them.
Yeah. Yeah. And have they come back? Have you followed any of the folks that were a part of your program or kept in touch with any of them?
I have. Some have gone on to college. Others have pursued like their artistic endeavors. So it's definitely planted a seed. Um, we're never like really responsible for the creation of artists, right? We really just kind of plant the embryo or pave the pathway, because it's all a part of a divine purpose, that individuals are put into our lives. But we have to be cognizant and be able to recognize it, and again have that esteem to know that my voice deserves to be heard.
Mm.
That's at the crust of artistic expression, is the belief that you deserve to be seen and heard.
Yes, yes, definitely. Now, speaking on that, Essence Poet Laureate. Woohoo! I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So, can you tell us, maybe um, what was the process for that, and when did the light go off, where you're like, you know what, I think I could be poet laureate. How did that all come to be?
Well, I remember I want to say it was my junior year of college, and I spoke with someone who was very deeply embedded in the English department. She's a student. Her name was Ebony. And she was telling me, she was like, "Oh, you could be the poet laureate." And I kind of just like was like, "No, okay, I guess." Like, I don't know. Um, and then I applied. I was talking to my friend, and it was after I had finished my workout at the gym. And I was like, I really want to apply, but I don't know if my work's good enough. And he was like, like, you're really talented. You should try. And I was still downplaying myself, and
Mhm.
I submitted everything. And then Dr. DePolo, he called me and he was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hi," and I was looking crazy because I'm like, the semester's over, so I don't know what this is about. And he told me that I won, and I asked him like, "Are you serious?" Like 3 times, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah." And I was just in awe for quite some time. I'm still in awe.
Mhm.
It's such an honor that I can't even fathom it sometimes.
Mhm, mhm. What does being a poet laureate entail?
Um, so it's more so being an ambassador for the school, just paving the way for creatives to engage with different events that we may have on campus or outside of campus. Just building like a close knit community, whether it's poetry, whether it's short stories, fiction, any of that. Just knowing, having other students know that they can share their work in whatever type of way that they need to, and just having events that harness that type of creation.
Mhm, mhm. And you also work as you do work writing assistance.
Yeah. I also, as part of my assistantship, I work in the writing center at school. And more so, what that is just helping us students with any type of literature that they may have, whether it's a psychology paper or they're writing an internship essay, just helping them with organization and content, grammar, syntax, that sort of thing.
Mhm, mhm. Do you find that most students downplay their artistic abilities, whether it's with writing or whatever it might be, just downplay themselves as well, not giving themselves as much credit as they should?
Definitely. I always try to encourage students, especially when I see them, I get very excited about students who are writing poetry or short stories or things of that nature, it's really exciting for me. So I'm always encouraging them to put it out there, show everyone that they can, and just believe in yourself, because you'll really be surprised at who else believes in you and how far you can go.
Hmm. Hmm. One of my tenants is, you know, the only thing they can say is yes or no. But
Yeah,
if you don't apply or if you don't ask, the answer is automatically no. So we have
definitely.
to have that faith in ourselves, at least enough faith to submit and see what happens. So
Yeah,
I'm sure all of the kids appreciate the time and effort that you give them.
yeah, I really enjoy working with them too.
Good, good. Now, Diaz, so you you're actually in the community doing performing spoken word as a profession, I believe. In addition to everything else that you do, how does one go about that? How do you say, I'm going to be a professional poet? How do you do that?
So, not quite yet. It's not the primary source of bread and butter, but it does fill in some voids. So you are right, and it does take a certain level of dedication and a self assurance in order to do that. The decision really came into play where, let me say this: my father has a saying. He says, "If you're good, you never have to say it. You don't. You never have to self proclaim or self promote in that way, because other individuals will let you know." And so when I noticed that I started to receive that type of feedback, that I was ready to really to take this art form seriously and to know what the power of words are, and to have the feedback after shows about people coming up and saying and reciting my lines back to me about how that changed their perspective. And that's when I knew that I had a gift. And what's interesting is that there's been times where I've like taken sabbaticals and I've stopped and I've had to get reminders about what my purpose was. I remember I went on a cruise one time and I met this young man and we were conversing, and he said to me, he's like, I can tell that you do some type of performing. I was like, how do you know? It's like, it's just something in you. He's like, are you active in that now? I'm like, no, I kind of took a step back. And he says, every time that you don't utilize your gift, it's like you're slapping God in the face. And
Mhm.
it was such a visceral analogy that he used. It stuck with me forever. So I take that and I pour into other individuals to let them know that what you do, not everyone has the ability to do it.
Mhm.
And when you come across individuals who may not have the ability, you have the power to awaken them to their latent talent and skills. So that's what I basically encompass and what really is the driving force behind taking the art form seriously.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And in addition to that, I mean, I know you just didn't wake up one day and you were performing um, outstandingly. You actually, put time and effort in, and you know, work extra hard to get your art to the space where it is now, right?
Of course, and there's pervasive attitudes that really prevents us from evolving. It's that of entitlement and instant gratification. And I'll speak about instant gratification because we see a lot of what I call final product syndromes. We think that people are celebrities or experts overnight because we see the YouTube videos and we've never heard of them before. And we think they just immediately popped up on the screen and received all of this recognition, fame, so on and so forth. We do not see the hours and the days and the months and years it takes to reach a certain platform. The no's, as you had mentioned, right? You have to climb a mountain full of no's before you get to a yes.
Mm.
It's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
So rejection is protection and redirection when you think about it. And so that's the other thing that I had to realize, is that this is going to take work, and
Mm.
you want to surround yourself around people who are better than you in the art form. You can't view them as a threat. You have to view them as inspiration. It's the only way that you're going to be able to evolve. So I never see this space as being competitive. I see it as being inspiring. And you have to have a certain level of security to not feel that your fellow artists who are doing great things is a threat, because success is not a limited commodity.
Mm.
It's something that can be achieved by anyone. It's what you define that success in being. And if you really see that success as being something intangible and growth and making impact, that doesn't sell out. That doesn't run out.
Yes, yes. I have a saying, there's enough shine for all of us. We don't have to pull each other down, we lift each other up. And so many good things that have happened in my life have come because of or during me uplifting other people. So I think that is something to live by. um, Essence. So I think you're multi-talented. I think I saw something about you being a painter as well.
Oh, um, so my painting skills are definitely okay. I paint from time to time. Not more so for leisure. I did have the opportunity to teach a watercolor class, which was really cool.
Mhm.
But I'm more private about my painting just because I feel as though it's not something I do often.
Well, if you're able to teach a class, then I would say it's a little bit better than good. But I understand you keeping something private. If that's a place where you go when you need to relax, and is that what it is?
Something of that sort. When I'm painting, I like to think that it makes me feel the same way that writing does. It doesn't to the same extent, but I enjoy painting. Sometimes I'll go outside and just paint what I see around me or something like that.
Mm. I don't know. Are you artistic in that vein, Diaz?
Painting,
Hmm.
finger painting maybe, but I leave it to the experts like Miss Essence. So no, not with visual arts, but there are other things that kind of tickle my fancy that I'm involved in.
Please
Editing.
share.
Um, I'm a novice when it comes to like film editing. Um, I've actually produced a film that was submitted to the Raleigh Film and Art Festival. Um, it was a It was called. I just actually lost my words. This is getting edited. It was, it was a part of a Juneteenth celebration through the Fuquay Arena, and it was called Kings, which basically highlighted the trails from slavery into modern times of African American males. And so we basically a videographer by the name. My memory is off.
It happens to the best of us.
Yes, yes. And so we captured all of those images and made it into a short film. And then I actually had the honor of being able to edit some of that. I host, and I also MC. So I have my hands in a couple of different pots as it relates to kind of like the artistic spectrum.
Hmm. Hmm.
Please edit that.
So, in regards to you hosting, now, you had a couple of different programs that you brought to the public, right?
Mhm. So
Yeah.
back in 2018, I actually founded this poetic conglomerate called Press Play Poets. Um, and the real goal of Press Play, again, was to be able to create a community platform for individuals who may not receive the spotlight. What I noticed in the poetry circle at that time is that there were certain names that would always be on flyers, so on and so forth. And I wanted to change that because I wanted to be able to boost the esteem of anyone who had the desire to be highlighted at that particular time. as well as target like our teens in the community as well. So a lineup would basically consist of seasoned poets, amateur poets, and then also a representative of the youth community as well. And we would have particular themes. And then we started delving into like poetic plays. So we had a play called Pardon My Ashes, which took place in the 1920s, in which all of the dialogue was basically composed of poetic prose. So I'm always about there's certain ideas and notions and conditions of humans will always be represented in art, socio-political, love, so on and so forth. But how can we switch up the lens? How can we present it in a new and fresh way so that it still captivates a wide audience? And so that was really the goal of Press Play Poets.
Oh, nice, nice. Um, Essence. So now you're getting your master's in um, African. Tell me what it was again. African literature
English
and
and African American literature.
okay. So what does that entail? What are you? Are you? Do you want to be a teacher?
I know
Yeah.
that more than likely once I get my master's degree, I probably will teach. I do hope to one day be a author or a poet. That is my end
Well,
goal.
you're a poet now. What do you mean?
Well, I mean more so being established and just kind of getting my name out there.
Okay. Okay. Known around the world.
Yeah, something like that. Hopefully,
Okay. Okay. All right. So a teacher, that's awesome. In the realm of college, or you want to work with kids,
that's
young.
what I'm still kind of figuring out. I've worked with children um, probably since about the age of like 12. So I do enjoy working with children, more so elementary, middle school grades. But I think being a lecturer would be pretty cool. It'd be nice to do something like that.
Yeah, it would. It would. That would be nice. That traveling lecture.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
something I recently found out about that I didn't know was a thing, and I've considered that as well.
Very nice. So, speaking on that, on your writing, you have the two books. Can you tell us a little bit about each? What inspired them? Uh, Maybe what the difference, if they have different subject matter in each or whatnot.
Yeah. So my end goal will be to have seven. I call the book collection the Orange series because the colors are orange. My first book, Maple Sunrise. Um, I just was talking to my brother and I was like, I want to write a book. Like I have all this poetry since 12, 11, and I want to do something with it. So I think I was outside playing basketball with him. And I stopped him and I was like, Maple Sunrise. And he was like, what? And I was like, I think that's the title that I want to have for my poem. It made me think of maple as in sweet and sunrise is just starting, the thought of beginning something. So
Mhm.
that's kind of where that came from. It's more so a mixture of poems about love, life, laughter, nature, that sort of thing. And Ochre Road kind of follows suit. I would say that an Ochre Road is a bit more personal to me, just sharing my stories, but in prose and poetry. And Ochre Road came from just me thinking of a different shade of orange, ochre, and then just the road that you have to walk on in life. It's a continuous road, and that's kind of what I thought about for that book.
Nice, nice. Makes me want to pick it up. I don't have them, but you know what? I'm running to the store right after we stop the video to pick them up.
Thank you.
um, Now, Diaz, I I didn't see on there. Have you written any books?
So that is in the works.
Okay.
It will be a collection of poetry called Write on the Wall, which would be an extension of a series of workshops that I'll be doing, and get into that a bit later on once you ask the question about what we have going on in the future.
Okay, okay. Cool, cool. Um, so you're in the process of writing the book now?
Yeah, so the poems have been collected. I've edited, so we're in the publishing stages right now. So we're
Oh,
looking for a projected release date of around May or June.
Oh, that's exciting.
And these would be more intimate pieces, not necessarily performance pieces that I do, um, and ranging back from my collegiate years to present time. So you definitely will kind of see that evolution, even just like the evolving of thought and certain thought processes and conditions. So I may have felt differently about love when I was 19 years old than I do now when I'm 40. And just like the socio-political landscape, and sad to say that many things haven't changed, right? Like we're still dealing with some of the same societal woes and scourges as well. And, how to be able to approach that, again, from different lenses, from an 18-year-old lens to a 40-year-old lens. So I'm looking forward to releasing it soon.
okay, awesome, awesome. Well, I'll put my pre-order in for yours
There we
as
go.
Yeah,
There we go. Right. So you order, I sent you pre-order my book too.
I would love to.
It's a Black Friday sale. Get them all.
well. Awesome. Now, let's talk about your workshops. So I know you have several, but you know, what how do you decide, what workshops you're going to actually teach, or, what um, gets you excited about that? And just tell us about, putting workshops together, what that entails, just in general.
Well, much of it has to do with the population I'm going to be speaking to, right? So, I've conducted workshops for elementary school kids, adults, as well as high schoolers. So, what's important to them? But the common theme, really, what I spoke about earlier, is the discovery of esteem and voice. So, the names of the workshops is the same as the book, which is called Write on the Wall. And it comes from a saying, again, plugging my dad. It was so simplistic what he said to me, but it was so poignant and meaningful. He said, when you run out of paper, write on the wall. And what that basically means is that never let anything stop you from expressing yourself, even if you don't have the necessary tools at that time. So you have to push through your circumstances in order to be heard. So that's really the ground and bedrock of my workshops. Again, is tapping into your esteem, is realizing what you have to say, that there is some importance, and that even if you say something similar to what someone else has said, because no idea is original, it's coming from your voice, which is a complete unique perspective. So I can say something, right? And it may not have an impact if you said it, Dion, or if you said it, Essence, to someone completely different, right? And that's why it's important to kind of have this rainbow of voices, and that's what makes this event so great, is because you have this collective of luminous spirits from different backgrounds and different experiences, and we're going to make sure the community is covered because there's enough of us uh, that can impact. So that's really what drives me, when it comes to conducting these workshops. Again, is making that lasting impression. Um, we're not here forever in the physical, right? But we can be here forever spiritually, right? And that spirit realm is connected to the artistic realm as well. That's how we leave our lasting imprint. So you want to make sure that your lasting impression is one that created change and is one that's positive.
Yes, yes. So now, speaking on the show, A Night of Artistic Renewal, taking place Sunday, April 28th, at the Booth Playhouse, which is within Blumenthal Performing Arts Center. Um, you know, it's my little baby. And it features so many wonderful artists. Um, so many artistic disciplines. Essence, when I reached out to you regarding the show, what made you say yes?
I jumped at the opportunity because I thought that it would be so cool to work alongside other artists and other performers like myself. And just I know that I'm going to be overjoyed. I'm going to be inspired. I'll probably go home that night and write something too. I think just being a part of something so monumental, how could I say no? Um,
Thank you so much. Um, did when you were young, did you have the opportunity to um, visit a lot of, do a lot of artistic uh, visits with your family, or
um, Not so much, but it's more so because I kind of kept poetry and writing to myself for a while. I haven't really, I want to say maybe within the past 6 to 7 years is like when I started opening up about me writing and actually sharing it with people close to me.
okay, yeah, okay. So, and then were they surprised, or when you actually opened up and showed them your work, were they like, wow?
Yeah, I will say my siblings and my mother, they were very surprised that I had been writing for a while and they didn't know, but also just reading things um, that I had wrote about whether my feelings or my thoughts, my relationships with everyone. They were they were excited to read it. So that it was a good feeling to kind of have that support from them.
And I'll tell you, outside of course, reading your work and being impressed with it, uh, I felt like having uh, a babe in the wood, if you would. You're just a so young, beautiful young lady, and I felt like it would be very nice to have a representation of youth. DS, you and I, we're youthful at heart, but
In
it's still not
spirit.
that, yeah, in spirit, but it's not that 20-year-old, youth. Um, So, I just feel like the kids that are going to be in the audience will see themselves in you, as well as just your presence. She's so graceful, isn't she? Um, so, and I think that's something that needs to be um, relished by anyone who has the opportunity. Um, Now, Diaz, so when I came to you with the offer to be a part of a Night of Artistic Renewal, what were your thoughts?
When you presented your showcase, which has a history, which has a pedigree, and definitely want to give you credit for that, the consistency of excellence. It was really three words why I said yes: authenticity of intentions. The intentions were authentic about what you wanted to do. I didn't sense that this was a vanity project or a project where we're turning up and partying. And nothing wrong with that, and nothing wrong with getting recognition. But there's a time and place for everything. And there is a time right now in which positive representations of who we are is something that is critical, because we're being spoon fed, as you mentioned, negative depictions, or there's trickery that is pointing us to what we think is positive, but the roots really aren't, because again, it's something that's disingenuous, because you can't say yes to everything that gets presented to you as well.
Mhm.
And that's something else that you learn as you get further and further along in your artistic journey. All money's not good money, or all recognition isn't good recognition. So that's what really made me say yes. And then also, I remember the first time I met you. It was at the film festival, and your poetic film was one of the selected award winners. And I saw the passion and the subject matter that you spoke about. And again, it left a lasting impression on me. And we didn't know that our paths were going to intersect again, but they did. And it created this union based upon the impression that you left. Isn't that wonderful, right?
Mhm.
How a seed gets planted 2 years ago and it
Right.
germinates to something like this. So it was an honor for me to say yes, and it was an honor to even be thought of as well. So thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Yeah, that's another key point, relationships. So I met you, like you said, 2 years ago. And, you know, who knew that I would have the opportunity to make this offer to you 2 years later? So I think it's important for us to you may not speak to everyone every day, but you do need to just keep a mental Rolodex of the people you encounter during your time and, you know, kind of pick their strengths, you know, and, and put those in your, um, what am I trying to say? Use those to build upon at later times. Um, just to tell you all a little bit about me, uh, when I was 7, my mother passed away um, very suddenly, tragically, and my father was 28 years old. And he was left to take care of myself, a 4-year-old son, and a 2-year-old daughter. And money was tight. Babysitters were hard to come by, so we didn't have an opportunity to do to as I was asking Essence, like to go out to um, artistic endeavors or um, um, you know events. He always told us, pick up a book and you can go anywhere you want to go. And so that's what we did. We read. But I always wanted to um, be able to travel and, actually, go different places. And that's where the idea from a night of artistic renewal came from. Um, I felt like families who are trying to figure out where they're going to live, what they're going to eat, what are the kids going to wear, may not be thinking about, let's go to the museum or let's go read some poetry or listen to some poetry. But if we can provide a safe space, uh, an affordable space, and actually, our event, kids from 10 to 18 uh, can come at no cost,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's because I wanted families to be able to come out and enjoy the arts together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, do you think though? I think in the past 4 years, there's this will actually be the fourth event. We've consistently seen children and adults come through the doors and say that they were motivated and inspired by the artist on stage. And I'm just so I can't wait to to see you all up on the stage giving that energy out to the public. So I don't know. I just get excited about it. I don't know if you can tell. I can like picture it in my head. But so, before we end, we have a few more minutes here, but I want to know, tell me, anything that you have coming up, anything that I haven't touched on, um, whatever it is you want to bring to the table. Let's start with Essence.
So I am currently working on my third poetry book. I'm still thinking of a title. So far, I'm thinking of the title "The Amber Fire," another shade of orange. I think the inspiration behind this collection is "The Fire Next Time" by James Baldwin. Um,
Mm,
I really enjoy that. So that's been a bit of inspiration for me. I know within this next week, I have the honor of meeting Joshua Bennett, and I'll be opening for him at our school. So that's really exciting.
Wow. Nice. Nice. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Essence. DS, you have anything you want to tell us about?
yes, so for National Poetry Month, which is this month, happy National Poetry Month. Um, that Saturday before our show is actually going to be the first workshop um, in which I partnered with Durham Parks and Recreation. The workshops will be conducted at the W.D. Hill Center, and they are entitled Right on the Wall. So, for 3 consecutive weekends, I will be conducting these workshops to everyone and all who is interested in really finding their voice in the realm of poetry, and just giving some tips on performance and formulation of prose and things of that nature. So I'm very excited to get back out there, and that will culminate with a yet to be announced event that will be taking place sometime in June or July. Um, so be on the lookout for that. And of course, my book, Right on the Wall, should be released within that time frame as well.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Now, Essence, so is the performance is that going to be open to the public, or is it just for your the students at the college, or is this off
Um,
campus or what?
it is on campus. I believe that it is free to the public. They just needed to RSVP, but it is free and open to the public.
So they would just go to,
McNair Hall on A&T's campus.
I'm sorry, say that again.
McNair Hall.
McNair. Okay. And what day is that going to be on?
That will be the 11th, and it starts at 7 p.m.
Okay, April the 11th at 7 p.m. in McNair Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And DS, what day is your workshop going to be on?
So the workshop will be on, it's going to be 3 consecutive Saturdays, starting
Okay.
with April the 27th.
Okay. So April the 27th, and the next two Saturdays after that. And
Mhm.
then, so where would they go to get tickets or to find out more information?
So you basically can sign up and register for the workshop on the Durham Parks and Recreation website.
Okay. And is this free or is there a cost?
I believe there is a small fee that's associated with it.
Okay. All right. So the Durham website, and it starts on April the 27th. So you're going to be busy.
A little
Woo!
bit, a little bit.
What time does the workshop start on the 27th?
It'll be noon, noon to 2 p.m. It'll be a 2 hour workshop. And then shortly after that, I'm heading to Charlotte.
Yeah. So what day are you coming in, Essence? Are you coming in the day of?
I may go the night before because I have a family in Charlotte, and my sister's really excited. Actually, when we were listening to, well, I was listening to the radio ad, I heard a voice that was very familiar outside of, you know, um, and I believe that Fly Tie is also the my nephew's barber. So I think that I have met him before. And I was like, wow, such a small world. But I think I'll get there the night before. So I know they'll want me to show them what I'm wearing and everything like that.
Yeah, yeah. Fly Tie is a barber, and they are actually going to actually be at the event. Fly Tie and Jacinda are going to be at the event. Uh, they have a wonderful charity that they work with. And so we'll find out more about that during the actual event. But again, I just want to thank you all so much for being a part of the show. It's a night of artistic renewal. Representation equals power. We have poetry, song, dance, visual artistry. uh, saxophonist. You name it, we got it all on one stage. And anyone can pick up tickets at a nightofartisticrenewal.com. Also, blumenthalarts.org. It's only $15 for adults, which, that makes for a great date night. And kids who come with a ticketed adult are actually at no cost whatsoever. So we want to see you and the kids come out, have a great night. You won't be disappointed, I promise. Um, let's see, anything else?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
I'll take it. I'll take it. But no, thank you all. Thank you. Thank you for the gift of your presence today on the show with this interview. Thank you for blessing us with your performances on the 28th. Essence, Connor, Barringer, and DS Will. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you on stage. Let's give them a hand. Woo!